So let's get in. The Gators have a couple of big guests this past weekend. Charles Lester III, who is committed to FSU, is a 5-star cornerback, and Jeremiah Smith, a 5-star number 1 player in the country at wide receiver, were on campus. The Charles Lester visit was a bit of a surprise. To the normal fans. I guess the Gator fans weren't surprised, or the Gator staff wasn't surprised. But after that, he said that he's going to be taking an official visit to the University of Florida, which is huge news. Venice, Florida, stand out there. So good interview with Keith Niebuhr if you want to go ahead and listen to that, boys. But Jeremiah Smith, Charles Lester on campus for Charlotte. Any thoughts on recruiting?
Good. As far as Charles Lester, like man, these guys are not going to leave a stone unturned. We got Xavier Filsaime at the safety position, who I think he's better than Charles Lester. But if you got both of those guys on the back end, now you're just cooking with hot grease. He's a Florida State. He was perceived as a Florida State lock when he committed. Before he committed there, there, and it would be an incredible flip. But he's a Florida State guy. Grew up a Florida State fan, but I like what I'm hearing. And he says he's gonna come back for that official visit. Everybody's burnt their official. We don't have unlimited visits right now, do we? Is that next year or does that apply now?
Players can take unlimited officials. Yeah.
Florida has I think it's 30 something.
But still one per school, right?
It's like 75 total that you're allowed to have for official visitors. I think it's 65, 75, somewhere in that range. But players, I believe, can take an unlimited number of official visits, but just one per school, correct?
One per school. So he's burnt his to Florida State already in Georgia and Bama, all those guys. We're pretty much the only program that still has an official visit on deck. He said he's going to return to a game as well. Probably one before FSU. If not, definitely he'll be here for the FSU game. So you get him for 2 visits. If you look at Florida State secondary right now, it's just complete food. It's a buffet. Then they're not playing well. And if you're paying attention, you look at the Florida defense. Austin Armstrong's very young. Corey Raymond is one of the best defensive back coaches ever. So the sell is there. The fun defense is there. And I've seen we flipped Dante Fowlers in the past. We flipped some guys that was absolute Florida State locks that nobody perceived as a possible flip. But if they're sneaking around like this and they're popping up at visits, bro, they're not coming here for funsies. Like, the staff is recruiting, they're getting some things going. I'm not saying he's a for sure flip, but we definitely got something cooking. We just got to keep winning football games, keep the defense looking good. And if Corey Raymond could bring in Charles Lester with Xavier Filsaime, and then you still got Zay Mincy and those guys still in the fold, man, I'm about to start talking crazy.
No, I think that
schools can host 56 official
56 visits. Okay. So they still obviously want to be careful with how many that they have, but Charles Lester's obviously a guy. And one of the things that I do like, whether he comes to Florida or not, which I would never say on this podcast, that I think that he is right now, it's being able to continue to recruit and can continue to go after these guys. We watched the last staff them give up on a lot of people and continuing to recruit guys, even if they don't end up coming to your school, to continue to give that effort, continue to fight, until that signature is dry on that page. So a couple of quotes that he gave Keith Niebuhr on 3. I will be back. I don't know if I'll make it to a game before FSU. I'm planning to be back before that game, but if not, I know for a fact that game. And then I know I will be taking an official visit in December. And Silk, you mentioned it about Corey Raymond. Charles Lester told Keith he's a great person. He's developed plenty of DBs and has sent all the top name guys to the NFL. I can't miss on that. I know some of the freshmen in high school and they played last year. So seeing the development and how far they've come along since they stepped on campus months ago, I just love. So he will likely be here December 8th through the 10th. So again, a guy to look out for. And then Jeremiah Smith is also on campus, has flirted with Florida a lot, has flirted with a lot of the big 3 schools, still committed to Ohio State. A guy that you still bring onto campus. I was having a conversation with some of my guys. How long do you keep recruiting a guy like Jeremiah Smith? And the answer is you just keep recruiting him until he doesn't come here anymore. He's just one of those can't miss prospects. And if he wants to come, you still allow him the opportunity to come. So
Yeah, he has an open invitation to the cookout.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gotten the sense that he's like flipping though, to not just to Florida, but like to anywhere. Like he will.
I think he flips, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. At this
Really?
point, watching Ohio State play this year, Ryan Day, I don't know if I believe in Ohio, like their future and where they're going and their confidence in Ryan Day, any of that. And I think like the players feel that as well. He's just flirting way too hard and heavy.
He only loses to like playoff teams. Like he lost to Michigan, I think 2 years in a row. That's their only loss.
He ain't that guy though, man. Like you talking like you leaving from.
Listen, if you're trying to pick fights with Lou Holtz,
yeah,
who was born, I think before World War II started.
And like a very noted like Notre Dame homer, right? It's how you're beefing
coached
with
at Notre Dame homer, just going after my guy Lou, who was in bed for 4 hours before Ryan Day said anything.
Lou Holtz don't even remember saying what he said. I promise you. You're that angry. Like, I don't think Ryan Day's that guy. And that may not mean I know Heartline is a hell of a recruiter. But Jeremiah Smith is just flirting way harder than any of those prior Ohio State, Florida receivers have. So I don't know if it's to Florida, but I do think he flipped. I don't think he sticks at this point. I don't think the flirtation is just for funsies. He's taking all these visits for a reason.
The Gators do have they had 7 recruits on campus: Jeremiah Smith, Charles Lester, who we've mentioned, Myles Graham, commit Jerrick Gibson, the Gainesville native that's committed to Texas. He was on campus. Amaris Williams, Nasir Johnson, both commits. And then DeAndre Robinson, who's a guy that committed to Texas. He's from Jones High School there in Orlando. I know that there was a lot of discussion around his commitment time of whether he was going to come to Florida, but he comes onto campus too. So for a game against Charlotte, a game that these guys probably aren't looking to see how great the team does, offense, defense, whatever it might be, they're just looking to go and build relationships. And to have those 7 guys on campus, it's not bad. Your worst player on campus was the 369th best player. So pretty good turnout for the Gators.
We didn't even get it to Pickett. 2025 kid pulled up as well.
Yeah, you're right. That was just the 2024 guys. Yeah. For 2025, Silk, you mentioned, just load this real quick.
Back-to-back weeks for Pickett. He came to Tennessee week, enjoyed himself, figured he'd come back for some more midtown vibes.
Don't blame him. Gators had 5 2025 guys on campus. DJ Pickett, he's the number 8 player overall in the country from Zephyr Hills, here right outside the Tampa Bay area. Dallas Wilson, who's committed to Oregon from Tampa Bay Tech. Darrell Johnson, the 106th ranked player, 6'3", 205 pound. Max Buchanan, interior offensive lineman from Seminole High School in Sanford, Florida. And then Centoyo Isaac from Tampa Bay Tech. He probably rolled up here with Dallas Wilson as well. But again, you have 4 guys out of the 5 that were top 300 players in the country. And then Centoyo Isaac is the 356th best player in the country. So of the 12 visitors that you had on campus, your worst was the 350th best player in their class. So not a bad week of recruiting for the Gators. Let's get into Kentucky.
One more take. One more take about the recruiting. I know, like, people saying, "Oh, why would Jeremiah Smith want to play for this offense?" Oh, we didn't blow this team out, and we had all these recruits on campus. More than anything, these players are going to be looking at the playing time as well. Like they're seeing a bunch of freshmen run around on the field. When you got those safeties that we had on those visits, DJ Pickett, they're not concerned about other freshmen playing. They're like, yo, the best players are going to play. It's going to be an opportunity to rotating as well, whether it's defensive line, DBs. You're seeing them get the best players on the field and them get snaps at a very young age. And it's also, they're not out there getting barbecued. They're playing well. And that's what recruits are seeing. They don't look at it as fans, bro. It's a little bit different perspective for the recruits that are coming here. They're looking at, projecting themselves in the defense and seeing what's actually happening X and O wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's you're exactly right, Corey. They look at the game very, very different than the way that you and I do as fans. So with that, let's get into a bit of a Kentucky preview. Sorry we don't have a writer this week. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Home